What's happening, world? What's going on with y'all, man? B March Boxing, and I'm back at it. Back at it with another breakdown and prediction. Big welterweight fight we got coming up tonight. Yes, indeed. Here we are, man. I seen the weigh-ins. Seen our fellas filled out. Now here we are. Let's talk about it, man. Breakdown and prediction. Undisputed fight. We got two undefeated fighters at welterweight. We got Errol Spence. Man holds three straps. Comes in with the WBC, WBA, and the IBF strap. 28 and 0, 22 KOs versus the man Bud Crawford, who I believe is like 39 and 0, 39 and 0, and 30 KOs. So the man got Bud Crawford has more fights than the man Errol Spence got fights. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, Bud got more knockouts, stoppages, TKOs, KOs, the whole spectrum more than the man, but Errol Spence does have fights. But at the end of the day, all that means nothing. Resume means nothing. Whom they fought in the past means nothing because now they got to prove it to themselves. Who's the best welterweight of their era? Big, massive fight. Been looking forward to this fight for a while. As it got closer fight week, I've been amped. And here we are. So, this is a fight between two styles. You know what I mean? I seen some people consider the man Bud Crawford an orthodox fighter. I'm sorry, southpaw fighter. I still consider him a switch hitter, a guy who is really an orthodox fighter, but can switch stances. Man like Marvin Hagler is a guy who fights in the southpaw stance primarily, but he's a dude who writes with his right hand. He's a guy who's really orthodox, you know what I mean? Conventional type of fighter. But in the ring, he's a southpaw. Bud Crawford, man, he fights at the switch stance and pace when he wants to, when he is looking for an adjustment, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Depending on how he feels the fight's going or what kind of adjustments he needs to make, that'll dictate which stance he'll be in, you know what I mean? You check it. So Bud Crawford is the slow starter. That's his problem. And actually, it hasn't been a problem. Let me not say it's been a problem because really and truly, only fight that I've seen him really, that was, the scorecards were kind of close, was a Sean Porter fight. And I believe it got stopped in the 10th round. Um, I had Bud Crawford winning that fight 5 rounds to 4 going into the 10th. It was a back and forth fight. Bud wins round one, or Porter wins round one, Bud wins round two. Porter round three, Bud four. That's how it was going, back and forth. And really and truly, a lot of people don't be honest about it. That's exactly how the Kell Brook fight was. There's nobody on planet Earth who can come lie to me that by the time Errol Spence stopped Kell Brook up there in the UK, that he was washing him. Stop the cap. Stop the cap. I believe, what was that fight stopped in the 10th round as well? If it was stopped in the 10th, then I had it 5 rounds to 4 in favor of the man Errol Spence. So that goes to show it was a good back and forth fight. You know what I mean? It might have been an 11th round stoppage, or maybe 10th. I can't remember. You know what I mean? But my point is, it was a good back and forth fight. Maybe it was 11th round fight. Um, Going in the 11th round, I might have had it. Yeah, five. Um, Maybe I had it 6 rounds to 4, or maybe even 5-5 going into the 11th round. It was a close fight. You know what I mean? But here we are. All they fights in the past mean nothing. Even the common opponent, that common opponent stuff, man, that shit got blown out the water a long time ago. You know, in numerous fights. Even the last time I was hearing a lot of common opponents being mentioned, it was maybe Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather. You know what I'm saying? The man Pacquiao went life and death 4 times with the man Juan Manuel Marquez. Floyd Mayweather washes Marquez, albeit he was a bigger fighter as far as He didn't stay on intact with the catch weight that they'd agreed to. He washed him. The man Pacquiao ices the man Ricky Hatton in like 2 rounds. Devastating knockout. Floyd Mayweather had beat him previously before and had stopped him. Those type of common opponents, Pacquiao versus Cotto and Mayweather versus Cotto. All those things meant nothing at the end of the day because we saw the outcome of the fight. And the same goes with this particular fight. You know what I mean? Their resumes, whom they fought previously, means absolutely nothing in regards to who's going to win this fight. It all comes down to what they do on the night of July 29th. And I believe the man Bud Crawford, with this, if he starts off slow, it could end up being you know an impediment to him winning the fight because he could be down mad rounds, and this is a major fight. He don't want to be in a position like Teofimo versus the man Lomachenko. You know what I mean? Lomachenko uh, started very slow. You know what I mean? I believe the man Bud Crawford, he needs to set the pace. He needs to dictate the pace from the get go. You know what I mean? And even if the first half of the fight might be, I see the first half of the fight really being a good back and forth type of fight. That's kind of what it was. Although with Spence and Crawford, I'm sorry, Spence and Porter. I mean, it was a good back and forth fight. I had Spence winning 7 rounds to 5 with a knockdown. You know, but that's how I see the first half of this fight going. You know what I mean? I see the man Errol Spence walking the man Bud Crawford down, trying to, uh, use his jab. You know what I'm saying? Throwing left hooks to the body. But one thing that the man Bud Crawford is excellent at is really counterpunching. And I believe Errol Spence, he's a guy that doesn't have really much head movement. You know what I mean? I was in the basketball gym a couple nights ago talking with fellas about this fight, and these guys swear up and down that the man Spence was not hurt by you, Dennis Ugas. I was like, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Oh, Spence said it. He thought it's that's what he said. That's what he wants to make y'all believe." I saw the fight. I seen the man get hurt. The man was on Queer Street. He was out on his feet for a sec. You know what I mean? The ropes held him up. Should have been counted as a knockdown. And if I'm lying, I'm flying. And I dare anybody come and tell me that in boxing, if the ropes, the ropes don't hold your back up, that it should be counted as a knockdown. He didn't count it as a knockdown. And I told these fellas in the gym when we was hooping, dogs, I seen lesser fellas, lesser boxers than Spence. I'm sorry, than Ugas hurt the man Spence. You know what I mean? And Spence keeps his head basically, he keeps it really straight down the middle, not really much head movement. You know what I mean? And I believe that's where opportunities the man Bud Crawford can take advantage. You know what I mean? Especially when the man Bud might I'm sorry, Spence might overextend with the body shots. You know what I mean? That's going to leave a lot of his torso open, and also if he doesn't have a lot of head movement, for the counter punch. You know what I mean? Another punch. Really and truly, man, I see the man Errol Spence. He's a good fighter, has his fundamentals down tight, you know what I mean? But the man is also, to me, he's a flat-footed fighter. He ain't got that pep in his step, that bounce, can't fight off his toes like the man Bud Crawford can, you know what I mean? This is just what we've seen, whose defense is tighter. I think both of them have been hit, can be hit, you know what I mean? I don't think neither guy is a defensive maestro, you know what I mean? And it's all going to be about basically great punch placement, and you know, Bud Crawford, I think if he does not stand right in front of the man all night, like how Ugas did, he has a great opportunity of winning this fight. I think Bud Crawford can basically duplicate what we seen basically a month ago with Teofimo Lopez and Josh Taylor. You know what I mean? You know, um, Bud has been more active in boxing than Spence. It's really funny to me. I don't care what nobody says. I believe that Spence's crew and team were really trying to age the man Bud Crawford out. You know what I mean? That's what they was trying to do. But look who's been out the ring for over a year. It's the man Errol Spence, you know. And Spence, I give it up to him, you know what I mean? He looked good versus the man Danny Garcia, you know, as far as a man coming back from a long layoff, excuse me, car accident, etc. You know what I mean? He looked good for a man who came off the car accident, you know. Uh, Danny Garcia, you know what I mean? He did land some nice big punches, you know, kind of buckled the man Spencer at least once or twice, you know. But like I said, Spence looked good in as far as for a man who's coming off of a long layoff in a car accident. He handled his business, you know. But the man Danny Garcia ain't Bud Crawford, and that's why Danny Garcia ducked Bud Crawford all these years in the pro game, even though Danny Garcia has a W over the man Bud in the amateur game. I mean, Bud Crawford has to use elusiveness and has to can't stay in the pocket to try and trade. And that's one thing I'm hoping that Bud Crawford does not let his pride, and you know Bud Crawford has a whole lot of pride. I hope he don't let his pride get in the way and make him be a stubborn guy and want to fall into the traps of Spence like how Ugas did, you know what I mean? You know, Ugas, I'm not saying was the most fleet-footed fighter out there, and there's got the greatest footwork, but he was an aging fighter, and that's just the truth about it. When they fought, he was probably about 34, 35. Wasn't exactly a spring chicken, and he got the fight, and all credit to him when he beat 42-year-old Manny Pacquiao. You know what I mean? That's how Ugas got in that position. Uh, but Crawford has to use elusiveness, you know what I mean? He got to treat this man like how Teofimo Lopez did that man, Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor was defeated just straight up and down because of the swag, the confidence that the man Teofimo Lopez was displaying. You know what I mean? But Crawford got to be on that type of time. You got to know your personnel, whom you're facing. The man Errol Spence is going to be a seek and destroy, come forward type of guy. Can't stand in front of the man and bang out. You know what I mean? The man Errol Spence, as far as who's going to dictate the range and the pace, Errol Spence will try to do that by trying to walk the man down, of course, trying to close the distance, you know what I mean? And I think he can have the advantage if he can cut off the ring, Errol Spence, and unleash them body shots, you know what I mean? Unleash them body shots. But, I think when Bud Crawford, um, when he switches stances and becomes a southpaw fighter, that's really and truly when he's trying to go in for the kill. You know what I mean? You see how this man Spence, if Spence tries to go in, whether it's with the lead left hand or the 1-2, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? The left behind the jab. But Crawford is going to time you. He's going to time you. You know what I mean? He's going to time you with that jab, right? With that jab from the southpaw stance, and it's a right hand jab. And that joint and Bud Crawford has the ability to go over the top, whether it's an overhand right or to shoot time and shooting that right hand jab over Spencer's straight left. You know what I mean? You check it, and that could come in many angles, whether it's a right hook, which is a devastating punch from a southpaw stance, and or the overhand right, or just a straight power jab. And Bud Crawford, naturally being a right-handed fighter, his jab is really like a power shot. Hence why I'm trying to tell y'all, man, when Slim switches up to fighting up in the southpaw stance, he's really trying to end you. Hence what he did to the man, Kell Brook. You know what I mean? You know what? That's what he did too when he was dropping the man Victor Postal all over the ring, at least a couple times. You know what I mean? When he gets in that southpaw stance, you know what I'm saying? When he's in his natural, conventional orthodox stance, you know what I'm saying? Bud is very patient. You know what I'm saying? He's waiting for you to make mistakes, but he's also keeps his defense airtight. And that's where I think the man Bud Crawford has a lot of opportunities. As far as strength on the inside, I'm not worried about Bud Crawford being or Errol Spence being a stronger fighter. I mean, even though he is the bigger fighter, because I've seen Bud Crawford handle himself versus many of welterweights ever since he's moved up to welterweight. He done stopped everybody, you know what I mean? So, and these are bigger guys he's fighting. Even in the fight versus Porter, Bud Crawford did get the clinching to nullify the man, what's his name, smothering, and trying to be on the attack on the inside, Sean Porter. The man, Errol Spence, he didn't do that. The man Errol Spence wanted to go toe to toe on the inside, and that's going to give a man like Sean Porter an opportunity to bank rounds. How you figure the fight to me, Sean Porter versus Keith Thurman was a draw because of how Keith Thurman couldn't handle Sean Porter on the inside. You know what I mean? Same goes with the man Errol Spence, and hence Spence handled his own, threw a lot of low blows. Big up to Sean Porter. Slim ain't cried not one bit to the referee about the low blows. Maybe he did once. He got hit with at least five. You know what I'm saying? But he still fought. I don't know why he didn't retaliate with his own low blows. But at the end of the day, that's what also got him caught too, Sean Porter, with that left hook. You know what I mean? A kind of flash knockdown that he took a knee and he got right back up, but that's a 10-8 round. It's because of the ultra aggressiveness, you know what I'm saying? And it was a nice left hook by the man, Errol Spence. And Errol Spence, he can, all those opportunities could be there if he can cut off the ring, you know what I'm saying, use his jab, dig to the body, shoot his right hook. Errol Spence is a southpaw, but he's not known to have a devastating right hook like a guy like Gary Russell Jr. Even what's his name? Bud Crawford's right hook from the southpaw stance, to me, it's even better than the man Errol Spence. But Errol Spence does have a very good left hook from his southpaw stance. What's up, Mike 104 in the chat? What's goody, my G? I'm going to read your shit in a little bit. Give me time to, let me cook one time. You know what I'm saying? So the counter punching opportunities, especially if Bud Crawford could be elusive, using angles, counter punching, if you can fight off the back foot, you know what I'm saying? And also, he's gonna have to set up traps to lure the man Errol Spence in. To be honest, when it comes to who has a better jaw, at this stage, I gotta go with the man Spence. I'm sorry, Bud Crawford. I'm not too sure about the man Errol Spence's chin. And I've seen Ugas hurt him. I've seen many of guys hurt him. You know what I'm saying? I've seen Bud Crawford get dropped by the man Kavalauskas, but it was basically like the kind of knockdown that happened with Sean Porter and Errol Spence, a flash knockdown. He got up right back off of his knee. He didn't get dropped on his back or on his face or on his stomach. He went down on his knee right quick and he got right back up. Like, we ain't see it. I know it was a 10-8 round. They didn't count it as a 10-8 round. But I haven't seen him like really like on spaghetti legs or buckled or on Queer Street, besides maybe Gamboa. And in the same round, Bud Crawford eventually ended up stopping Gamboa, who hurt him with the hook. You know what I'm saying? Skill wise, man, I gotta give it up to Bud Crawford. I think Bud Crawford got the skills to pay the bills. And not now. He's been one of the best fighters in boxing. I think the switch hitting is a dynamic that Errol Spence is going to have to make adjustments to. You know what I'm saying? Um, and I also think that the man Bud Crawford, I just think he has more dog in him. I just do. You know what I'm saying? Um, from where they come from, you know what I'm saying? The adversity that both guys maybe has faced in their upbringing in their life. I think the man Bud Crawford damn near seen the white light. Bud Crawford ain't no church boy. Not that a church boy can't win a fight. You know what I'm saying? But Bud Crawford, and like I know, Bud Crawford, you know, there's a lot of people who have the same kind of similarities, you know what I mean? As far as Bud Crawford's upbringing. Bud Crawford is a guy who, a young man who was a knucklehead, a self-admitted knucklehead. You know what I'm saying? A guy you couldn't tell him shit. But most people who are knuckleheads or somebody you can't tell them shit, these people more times than not, the world will teach them a lesson. You know what I'm saying? If they don't change their ways, if they don't recognize and realize their God-given talent, you know what I'm saying? Not to mention, Bud been doing this boxing shit since he was a little kid, man. The man, Errol Spence, I think he started as a teenager, probably playing football first, more times, man, I tend to lean to those type of guys who have a longer amateur pedigree, you know what I'm saying, than a guy who is, I don't know, I'm not going to say not a natural fighter, but Bud Crawford, like you and I know, he's a natural fighter. That's why I have faith in him holding his own in the trenches when it comes down to inside fighting. You know, he don't have to bang out. You know what I'm saying? I seen this man fight big dudes like Jeff Horn and Sean Porter, man, and he had put these guys in check in the clinch on the inside. Victor Postal, you know what I mean? So I think it's going to be a close fight. I think Errol Spence could win this fight if he hurts the man Bud Crawford. You know what I'm saying? If he deposits them body bank checks early, it could pay dividends in the later rounds. Might have, if gonna have to cut off the ring and Mike could pay dividends in the later round. He could possibly get a stoppage. I believe this fight going to the distance. But this is a fight right here where um, it's going to be about defense. Who got the best defense? None of these guys are Pernell Whitaker, Nicolino Lochi, or Pernell Whitaker. You know what I mean? They're not no defensive maestros. But I think that the man Bud Crawford has what it takes as far as the skills to pay the bills. You know what I mean? Maybe Spence has a better jab and the better body punching game. You know what I'm saying? But Bud Crawford has a beautiful counter punches, especially for them jabs, whether it's shooting that right hand from the southpaw stance over a jab, whether it's a jab from an orthodox fighter or a straight left from a southpaw fighter. You know what I mean? And the angles, that's how he beat the man Sean Porter. He was basically timing him. Sean Porter was getting frustrated, trying to come in aggressive, come forward, and Bud Crawford was just making a stick and move, make him miss, make him pay. And if Sean Porter, I'm sorry, Errol Spence stays on the front foot and keeps attacking, trying to attack, and can't be able to cut off the ring, I think it's going to be a long night for him. You know what I mean? I think Bud Crawford wins this fight 8 rounds to 4, maybe 7 rounds to 5. Will anybody get knocked down? Possibly. There might be a knockdown, but I think it's going to be a great fight. And Bud Crawford, I believe, going to hold his own in the championship rounds. I think the championship rounds, you know what I mean? I think that's when the stick and move and Bud Crawford possibly, if anybody gonna get stopped, I think Bud Crawford could stop Spence quicker than Spence could stop Bud, because Spence is more of an accumulation of punches to eventually get a stoppage or knockout. I think Bud Crawford, man, could hit you with that Avanesian one-hitter quitter type shit. You know what I mean? Put your ass and retire you like Sean Porter. You know what I'm saying? I think that he's capable of that type of stuff. You know what I mean? We shall see, But Errol Spence, they say, is a good boxer. Look what he did with versus Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia is not that dude. So stop the cap, each and everybody. Let's stop the cap. Mikey Garcia is a guy who lost to Sandor Martin. Mikey Garcia is a guy who really and truly, before the Spence fight, the best guy he ever fought was Roman Rocky Martinez, who's not a bad fighter, but that is the best fighter he fought. Mikey Garcia had ducked Gamboa years ago. You check it. So Mikey Garcia was that guy. Then he came to get. The guy had been craving for a pay-per-view. He was like a 12, 13-year vet. He came there for the paycheck. It was obvious. You saw the trends of Mikey Garcia's career after that big paycheck from PBC pay-per-view. Then he went to DAZN. He was just there collecting big money till he retired. I mean, he played the game well for his last few fights to get out the game. He got superstar pay-per-view type of money, and that guy really wasn't none of that. I mean, man, I'm saying? So let me read these chats one time. All right. Mike 104 says, I'll be surprised if both guys come out guns blazing. Yeah, I don't think they will. I don't think they will. They ain't going to be on no Hagler, Tommy Hearns type shit. Can't see it, Mo. Mike 104 says, Crawford would have finished Spence if he has a moment like that. Ugas flinched, lack of killer instinct. Absolutely. But also the referee jumped in to help the man Spence. There was only two things the referee should have done there. Stop the fight, stop the rap, and count and give the man Errol Spence an 8 count because the ropes held him up, and or let the man Ugas go in. Why the fuck the referee jumped in? I have no idea till this day. He should have let the man Ugas go in and beat the shit out of him if that's what he was going to do. We will never know though, because the referee jumped in when the man Spence got hit with that second punch that put him on the ropes. Okay, Mike 104 says Spence thought he got his teeth punched in. Yep. I like Spence's stance. The way he holds his arm doesn't give a lot to target to the body or head. Yeah, that and he doesn't have much head movement, but it's mostly because of his stance, right? But but Crawford is also gonna have to make this man overextend, like what Sean Porter did. You know what I mean? He's gonna have to make him do that type of stuff in order to get a solid crack at also his rib cage and the counter punching, uppercuts, etc. Mike 104 says Crawford has body shot knockouts too, crippling shots. Yes, indeed. Ask Ndongo. You check it, and guess what? Ndongo is wide open too, exposing his rib cage. So that's my prediction, y'all. B Marsh Boxing. This is probably my longest prediction I've ever done in life. I thought I was gonna come on this joint, do give y'all like 10 minutes. But you know, this is it's only right, you know. This is the shit, man. This is the biggest I mean, the last time we've had an undisputed welterweight, I believe, was Zab Judah when he beat Corey Spinks. It's a long time ago, mid 2000s. Big welterweight fight, you know, on some Tito Trinidad versus Oscar De La Hoya, Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather. Now, a lot of those fights I mentioned didn't live up to the hype, but Tommy Hearns versus Ray Leonard in '81 did. Hopefully, we'll get one of those. All right, B Marsh Boxing, I'm gone. 8 rounds to 4, 7 rounds to 5 in favor of the man, uh, um, Bud Crawford. It's a close fight. I believe it's possibly like a 55-45 fight in favor of Crawford, in my opinion. But we shall see. Time will tell. I'm gone. Let me know in the comment section how you guys see this fight. All right? One.